Recently, we've been working on some videos that use meat flour.
But we understand it can be expensive.
So today, we're gonna show you how you can make your own.
For a fraction of the cost. Hey, what's up, family? I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are Two Crazy Ketos.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome. Here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like product reviews and we do recipe videos. We talk about various keto topics, and every Monday, we go live on Keto Beyond the Couch because life exists beyond the couch.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're gonna find all of our different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way every single time we upload a new video, you'll be alerted to it.
So like we said in the intro recently, we've been working on some videos that use meat flour. As a matter of fact, last week, we released one where we're basically deep frying cheese.
Ooh, it was so good.
Leave a link for that one up here. We actually have several other videos coming out using meat flour. But like Rachel said, the meat flours that are on the market, though they're delicious, can get kind of expensive.
Yeah, and I mean, thankfully, a lot of the recipes, only call for a little bit. So you're not blowing through it too quickly. But yeah, it can be cost prohibitive to some people. And we wanted to see, is there a way that we could make this ingredient cheaper?
Now, you may be wondering, why meat flour? Why not just continue to use things like almond flour or protein powders?
Well, some people have different ingredient sensitivities, and then other people are trying to lean more to the ketovore, carnivore type of lifestyle, and yet they still want access to things like mug breads.
And this is something we've been trying to do for a couple of years. That's why we have recipes like the one I have linked up here for the carnivore mug bread. It's just something that really helps us to continue making this lifestyle sustainable for us, but still enjoy things once in a while that maybe is just not a steak, but like having a little bit of bread or something like that.
Now, how much is making our own meat flour gonna save us?
I honestly don't know. I can't give you an exact figure. I can give you an estimate.
Okay.
So there's a couple of them that sell on the market, but like we said, they're rather expensive and they sell for somewhere around $22 for 6 ounces of it.
Okay.
My guesstimate, and that's about what it is, it's a guesstimate, is that it's going to take 3 times the amount of meat to make that much meat flour. So to get 6 ounces of meat flour, I figure we're gonna need probably 18 to 22 ounces of meat.
Okay.
The best thing to do is probably weigh everything out before we start and then weigh it out at the end, and then we'll have a better idea. But if you ask me right now, I'd say we're probably gonna save 50 to 75%.
That's worth an attempt at the very least. Like, that is a huge savings.
You wanna go over what we need?
Yes.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to need for this, and you can use your oven, but I'm gonna tell you it doesn't work very well, and you're not gonna be able to make enough to really make a dent in your pantry. So you're gonna need a dehydrator. I will leave a link for a couple down below. We use the Kasori one. We've also reviewed the London Sunshine one. They're both very, very good. You will probably make your money back within your first or second batch of carnivore chips and
bacon jerky,
bacon jerky and making meat flour. The next thing you're gonna need is your meat.
Yes.
And we're gonna show you how to make a couple of different kinds, a couple of different ways. This recipe actually sort of happened by accident.
Yes, it did.
So I was working on it and trying different ways, and then what happened was recently, our Costco had this turkey breast on sale at $6 off a package.
That's a huge savings.
So we bought like 20 packages of it. And you just find the ones that are the lowest price and you buy those. And so I was trying to make carnivore chips with it. And the problem is it's thicker sliced. And so rather than making carnivore chips, I made like basically really dried snacks.
Right, which
More of a dog treat.
I was gonna say, which the dog loved.
So this is what I ended up with.
Very hard.
And this is what we want.
Yes.
Okay, so the first way we can do this, and we'll show you how to do this later on, is to get a good, clean lunch meat. So most lunch meats do have sugar in them. I believe even this one had a touch of dextrose in something, but I'm okay with it, especially for, when we have lunch meat, it's for an on-the-go kind of thing. But these were super clean. So you can use a lunch meat, but make sure you're getting a clean one. Or you can get some kind of a beef roast. You can also use organ meats if you want.
Yeah, but you're looking for lean.
It has to be lean. I tried it with ground beef, doesn't work unless you can find like a 97% lean ground beef. And at that point, you're going to be paying a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
You need to get really, really lean roast. Like this is an eye round roast, a sirloin roast, a London broil. The leaner, the better. Or you can use some pre-cooked chicken, whether you buy it or you make it. I tried with the chicken raw. It did not work as well as I wanted. So what we're going to use is this hand-pulled rotisserie chicken breast meat that we got from Costco. So yes, they do put a little bit of dextrose in their seasoning for what we're using this for. I'm okay with it because you have a 3-ounce serving size and it still is 0 total carbohydrates. So maybe it's a half.
You can make your own,
yes.
No problem. But I am somebody who really enjoys saving time. Like, Let's make this quick.
So yeah, you need that, some kind of chicken breast. And again, it has to be chicken breast. This will not work with chicken thighs. It is too fatty. Whatever meat you use, it must be very, very lean. The last thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a spice grinder.
Which seems weird, right? But I mean, we enjoy grinding our own spices already because we like making our own seasoning blend so that we know what is in the seasoning blend. But yes, this is the instrument that's going to make the magic happen, really.
Now, to head off any questions down below, can you use a food processor? You can if you're making a giant batch. We attempted to do this just using a small batch in our food processor, and it didn't work.
No.
It would have worked if I would have run the thing for hours, but it was just leaving big chunks of dried meat. It couldn't get to it because there wasn't enough to fill the bowl. You'd have to fill the bowl probably at least halfway. You can also use a Vitamix. Especially if you have the old container, like they had like a flour and grinder bowl. But again, you're going to need a lot and it's going to heat up and it could become a big mess. It's a little bit more difficult. The spice grinder is the way to go.
Yeah.
It's quick, it's easy, and it's cheap because you can get this thing for like $30. Now, I'm going to leave a link for the one that we're using down below because when I did this, I bought 3 different ones to test which ones work the best. This one worked the best. What I really like about this one is the bowl comes out so you can clean it. It also comes with 2 bowls where you have a 4-blade attachment as well as a 2-blade attachment. But we'll talk about that more later. Are you ready to get started?
So ready.
Okay, we're going to start off with our beef. So again, we have this bottom round roast here and you're going to see some fat on this. We want to trim as much of this fat off as possible.
I don't even process that, Joe.
So we're just going to take a knife and just kind of trim this off. Now, what I do is I take anything I trim off, I put it in a bag in the freezer, and I actually save it for when I want to make ground beef or sausage, and then I can always use it later. So this is pretty much how I want it. Probably took a little bit more meat off than I wanted here. So
goes in the scrap bag.
What I can actually do is take this knife.
Oh, nice.
And cut some more off because what we're going to do is we're going to slice this up. Now you can pre-cook it, but I find that's an extra step that we just don't need. Because what we're going to do is we're going to slice this meat to about this thickness. You can do it by hand, or you can use a meat slicer. If you have access to a meat slicer, or if you can get your butcher to do this for you, I would recommend that, because then you know it's going to dry evenly and you're not going to have some pieces taking longer than others.
Right.
If you do hand cut it and you find that some pieces are a little bit thicker than others, what I would do is take a meat pounder, put it on like a piece of saran wrap, and pound them down thin. You don't want to go as thin as carnivore chips, but you do want to have them pretty thin. Again, probably the thickness of a really good piece of turkey breast lunch meat. So I would say like 1 to 2 millimeters thick.
Okay.
If you cut it in chunks, you can do it that way too, but it's gonna take a lot longer to dry. Okay, now that we've got our beef sliced up, and you can see again, this is about the thickness we're looking for. All we're gonna do is lay it out onto some dehydrator trays. What I like about doing it this way is we do not have to cook the beef. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some red mint salt, and we're just gonna salt all of this. You don't have to do this, but it does help dry it out a little bit faster. Also, it adds flavor so that you have some of that salt in the meat flour. And if you look at the ones you get online when they come pre-packaged, they all already have red mint salt in it. So we're gonna put these off to the side and work on the chicken. Now, before we move on to the chicken, I wanted to go over how much we spent for that beef so far.
Right.
Because we said that we were gonna try to figure out what does this cost to make.
And we didn't do what we normally do, which is shop a sale.
Yeah.
We just went into the store and saw like, okay, if you had to buy something today, not on special price, how much would it cost about?
So this wasn't special meat.
No.
So we ran to Publix, and we bought that roast. It was $6.19 a pound. This was 2.88 pounds. So it cost us $18 for just about 3 pounds of meat, but we're not using all 3 pounds.
Right.
So we're going to figure it out like if you threw out that fat. But if you are curious how much fat we are actually throwing out, this is why, again, you want to buy as lean as you can. We are throwing out a 1/2 pound of fat.
Right.
So you're really only starting off with a little bit over 2 pounds of beef when you take out that fat. So that's, again, look for the leanest possible meat. Okay, this one is really easy.
Yes.
Okay, this one is so easy that Rachel can do it.
I can, because all you're gonna do is open up the bag.
So if you want to make your own chicken breast, you can absolutely do that. But what I like about this Costco chicken is it's just pulled chicken.
Yeah.
And you just take it out like this. And you're basically gonna just dice it up. We're gonna cut it into small pieces. It doesn't have to be super small, but just understand that the smaller that you cut it, the faster it's going to dry.
Okay, so as you're dicing this up, I'm wondering, could you do this with canned chicken like we use for our pizza crust?
I don't know. I haven't tried that. My guess is it would work, but I wouldn't do it.
Okay, why would you not do it?
Because number one, the canned chicken comes in water. You need to dry this. So why do you want to start off with a chicken that is wetter than you need it to be?
Right.
It would be better to cook your own chicken or buy it this way. Number two, canned chicken's not cheap anymore.
No.
It used to be really cheap, and it's not. So again, you might as well just buy your own. This is honestly, the reason we started doing this is it's cheaper than canned chicken.
It really
and
is.
I think it tastes better.
Well, it's very fresh tasting.
Right. So yeah, so number one, you don't want all that excess water. Number two, it's expensive. And number three, you're gonna have to have a lot of cans to get a meaningful amount. Because remember, you're going to lose about 70%
Because of the water.
weight because of
Yeah.
water. And chicken has more water, especially chicken breasts, unless you're raising your own chicken, because they pump these things full of water to give you more weight. Okay, so here's what we have. This is what it looks like. We're gonna go ahead and weigh this out. You can do the whole package, but I actually want some of this chicken for dinner. So we have just over a pound here. So what we'll do is we'll put another 4 ounces on here, only because I think if at 20 ounces, we're gonna end up at 6 ounces. If you are curious, this bag cost us $17, and this bag had, I don't remember how much in here, a lot, 46 ounces of chicken breast.
That's a lot. That's a respectable amount.
So yeah, that's a decent amount. So you would probably, if my calculations are correct, for that $17, you'd probably end up with 2 to 3 containers of, or at least 2 containers of what you would buy from the companies online.
This is very helpful for meal prepping in general, whether you're going to eat this cold or you're going to make your own, like, keto Alfredo sauce and cook that up in it. I mean, it can really feed a whole family, which is nice.
One of the reasons I actually keep this chicken breast in the house now is if I want to eat, like I come home from the dive, we were traveling, I don't want to cook anything. There's always a bag of this. So you can literally take it, throw it in the microwave, heat it up, put a little bit of salt. I like to put like the Redmond's chili lime or the taco seasoning across it. You can sprinkle a little bit of cheese, melt that on there.
I like it tossed in buffalo sauce.
I pour buffalo sauce on it. I've put marinara sauce over the top of it along with some mozzarella cheese. It's super versatile and it's already cooked and you can eat it cold. So I will like literally on my way out the door, take 3 or 4 of them, wrap them in an egg life wrap, like as a burrito and eat it while I'm driving.
Now, isn't the chicken going to fall through this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to use these sheets that it comes with and we're just going to put them down and we're going to take our chicken and we're going to spread it out.
And do we have to salt this one?
No, we are not going to salt this because at least this one, because there is already salt and seasonings in the Costco chicken. If you're going to make fresh chicken breast, then I would put some Redmond salt on here. Again, what you're going to do is you're just going to spread this out. Again, the more airflow that you have between the pieces of the chicken, the better. Because we're using a dehydrator, it doesn't matter if some pieces are thicker than other. The chicken is going to go faster than the beef because we're doing it at the same time, but because this is not cooked, the beef is. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this into a dehydrator and we're gonna set it on 167 degrees, which is generally the max of a dehydrator. You can also do it at 159 if that's where it's at. If you're going to use raw beef, don't do lower than 150 degrees, okay? So you don't want that meat sitting around, especially during the summertime.
Now, I know people are going to ask, can I just do this in an oven?
As I said, you can do it in an oven, but if you do it in your oven and your oven isn't perfectly calibrated and you don't have really good airflow in there, you're going to burn it. So I'm going to tell you no. I would not do this in an oven. If you want to do it in an oven, do it at your own risk because again, most ovens are not calibrated correctly. They don't have good airflow. They have hot spots. And when you do that, you're going to have some of the meat is going to burn, especially like the beef and stuff.
Right.
And you're not going to get a good result. You need to invest in a dehydrator. We're not spending $22 per 6 ounces for the carnivore flour. So again, just get a dehydrator. You're going to use it for a lot of things. You can make beef jerky, carnivore chips. You can do things like this. You could dry your own herbs, everything. So we're going to go ahead and put this in a dehydrator and we'll come back when it's all dry. Okay, it's been about 6 hours and it looks like all of the meat is dry. We're going to start off with the chicken. And we've got the 2 trays of chicken here and you can see they're basically like hard pebbles.
Yeah, I mean, it is dry. This is not something that you would normally want to eat in this method.
You're not going to really be able to eat these unless you grind it up. But this is what it's going to look like. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and actually grind it up. First thing I wanted to do was just weigh out what we have here. It will measure out to be the same weight when we grind it up, obviously. We've already removed all the water, so we're just going to zero this out. So 6.6, 6.7 ounces by the time we do it. So again, that's what I said at the beginning. 20 ounces, 21 ounces of meat is going to end up somewhere around 6 ounces of actual flour. So if you look at that bag was what, 48 ounces. I think it was like $17. We pulled out 20 ounces. So basically you're going to end up paying somewhere around $7 or $8. If you're buying the pre-cooked Costco chicken, you can obviously save money if you go buy your own chicken breast.
But you're going to save time doing
and cook
it this way.
and all of that stuff. And you're going to have cleaner ingredients, but gives you an idea. It's still a significant savings.
Yeah, you're talking about what, like $1 and change an ounce.
So what we're going to do is we are going to grab our spice grinder or coffee grinder, and you have to make sure this is dry. If there's any moisture in there, it's not going to work. And what you're going to see when you do this, you want to have it at least halfway. If you don't fill it up, it just doesn't grind as much. But if you fill it up too much at once, it'll have to run a little bit longer. So we're going to fill it about halfway. And again, the link for this particular one is down below. And then this one is nice. You just kind of put the top on and press.
Put your top on.
Okay, we can go ahead and check it. That looks pretty good there.
Wow. Now it's like dust.
And we can finish it up. There you go. You got chicken flour.
Chicken flour it is.
We'll go ahead and clean this up, clean out the bowl, and then we'll do the beef one. Okay, now it's time for the beef. And one thing I've noticed when you dehydrate beef, when you first take it out of the dehydrator, it's still a little soft.
Right.
But as you let it cool down, it does crisp up, and you're gonna see like this has gotten to that point where it is nice and crispy. I've also found that the thicker you make it, the drier it gets. It's kind of opposite of what you would think it would be.
Right.
So let's go ahead and weigh out what we have here in the beef, because we started with, what did we say, somewhere around 2 pounds or so? Mm-hmm. We got about 12 ounces.
You got like a beef Jenga going on over there.
So you lost a little bit over 50%, probably about 60 to 65% of the volume. But again, we paid $17 for that roast, and we're going to basically get double of what you would get if you were to buy the jar that's 6 ounces, and that jar is about $21. So a little bit more than 50% savings.
I like 50% off.
Now this piece here with the fat, that cannot be used for carnivore flour.
We can't eat it.
But you can eat it. So what we're going to do with this is the same kind of thing, and we won't go through the whole thing just to shorten the video a little bit. But what you want to do is just kind of break it into pieces that the machine can manage. And again, don't overfill it. Now what we'll do is just put the top on.
Put your top on.
And you want to go ahead and check it. And you can see that is already done.
That was fast.
We can go ahead and do some more of this. Okay, to save time, I actually moved it over to the food processor because we had so much. So you saw with the chicken, having the spice grinder was more than enough, and trying to do that little bit of chicken in the food processor when we tried it before
didn't work.
Did not work. But because we had the beef sliced out and we had a lot of it, it worked very well in the food processor. You just have to pulse it. And to give you an idea, that is what we have.
Looking good.
And we have a nice carnivore meat, whatever you want to call it, flour. Now you can take this and you can basically substitute it if you want to make meatballs, if you want to make our, fried cheese curds, you can do fried pickles with it. You can even use this like in our carnivore mug bread recipe.
But it's really nice that it's so versatile. You can use something like a turkey lunch meat. You can make it with chicken. You can have chicken flour. You can have beef flour and just really make it for you. It's just the trick is, unlike our carnivore chips, where you're usually wanting like fattier cuts of meat, you want to just make sure it's very, very lean.
So that is going to be how you make meat flour. Now, if you like seeing videos like this, take a look at some of the videos we have linked right over here. Also, make sure you take a look at the most recent videos I'm gonna put right over there.
But whether you head this way or you head this way, don't forget to head this way. Subscribe to our channel and click the little bell icon, and that way every single time we upload a new video, you'll be alerted to it.
Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.